Thursday it was Jamia. Today, on Saturday, it is now at Shaheen Bagh. Yet again, a shooter has arrived at the scene of protests against the CA, against the government's actions, which have come under criticism across the country. And again, a gunman has come and been able to actually fire a weapon before being taken away. Now, why do we need something more here than just the simple matter of taking these gunmen away? Because as we've seen on Thursday, the gunman who was picked up there is an FIR against him for attempt to murder under section 307 of the IPC. There will be, one would hope at least, similar action against the shooter today at Shaheen Bagh. But is this where the true responsibility lies? And that's something which the police has to consider now, given the fact that over the last week, there have been speeches made by politicians from the ruling BJP party as part of their campaign for the Delhi elections, where they have made statements which genuinely seem to provoke this. Now let's look at the things. First, there was the statement by Anurag Thakur, who is a union minister. He's a minister of state in the Ministry of Finance. This is a person who actually has prominence, who was one of the star campaigners for the BJP's election. He went in at rallies, was shouting Desh ke gaddaro ko, and then the crowd was shouting Goli maro salo ko, a reference to a slogan which was coined recently by Kapil Mishra, another BJP MLA candidate, in fact, in Delhi. Now, this was one of the first few things which happened. Then we have Parvesh Verma, the son of a former Delhi chief minister, saying that, the Shaheen Bagh protesters will go and rape your women and children. And he's made a comment that, there is still some time left right now. Modi and Amit Shah can't save you every time. Now, what exactly are these statements supposed to mean? We cannot just ignore the aspects of violence which have happened in Delhi subsequently. Now, the thing is, what these statements amount to at the very least is an offence under section 153 of the Indian Penal Code. And in fact, this was a view recently, just on Friday, taken by S.Y. Qureshi, a former chief election commissioner. Now, Qureshi said that he felt that the statement by Anurag Thakur was a fit case for section 153 of the IPC, which is provocation for a riot. Now, that's a very important thing to understand about this, is that if you wantonly give a provocation to people to actually which would sort of lead to the instigation of a riot, this is an offence under the Indian Penal Code. Now, what's important to note is that it doesn't even require an actual riot to take place. If you make a statement which is likely to provoke that itself is enough to be an offence under section 153 of the IPC. In this case, we actually have actions being taken in consequence of these statements. And I mean, it's obviously a matter of semantics to argue that it's not, but that is pretty much an argument which really doesn't seem to have much weight given the actions which are being committed. Even, as we said, even if there is no link proved, say, between the statement by Anurag Thakur and by Parvesh Verma with the violence outside Jamia a few days ago, and again on Saturday outside Shaheen Bagh, there is still grounds for a prosecution under section 153. Now, moreover, if we look at what's happened in both these incidents afterwards, a reasonable case can be made that there is actually abetment of an offence. If we look at the definition of abetment in the Indian Penal Code, it includes abetting and sort of being involved with the process of someone actually committing offence, as well as incitement of an offence. And here what we're seeing is that an action has been committed soon after statements have been made encouraging the shooting of what are considered traitors with reference to protesters, as well as actually going to Shaheen Bagh. In fact, even more than Anurag Thakur, you could say Parvesh Verma's statements would seem to at least be incitement for and therefore abetment of what happened today at Shaheen Bagh. So therefore, these are important questions which the police need to consider, prosecuting authorities in Delhi must consider. It's not a guarantee that they have to obviously agree with this, but it is something which has to be done. There have to be complaints made, some sort of effort and investigation done to examine whether or not these people have not committed these offences, because on paper it clearly seems so. Now, we know the Jamia Alumni Association has actually filed a complaint on the night of Thursday, in which they specifically have named Anurag Thakur as well as Parvesh Verma, and said that they are in fact responsible for this violence, and that's something which needs to be taken forward. This is something which we really hope needs to be taken forward, because when we look at the general jurisprudence of the Supreme Court and comments which have been made by them about offences involving incitement, they've always talked about whether or not any actual violence takes place, and we are actually seeing actual violence now on the ground, where there is an attempt to murder, where a person was actually shot, and the use of unlawful force in an area at least yesterday at Shaheen Bagh, which could amount to criminal intimidation, attempt to cause hurt, attempt to murder, whichever of these things you wish to term it. And there is definitely a reasonable link to be drawn between these statements made by these politicians in speeches which are actively asking for action in these areas, as well as involving the guns and actual dangerous arms and weapons by the public.